The year is 1999, and Chuck Palahniuk's novel Fight Club makes its theatrical debut. I'm Dalton Gentry.
And I'm Adrian Fort.
I'm Matt Wright.
And I'm Josh Adamek.
And we like to call ourselves the Aristocrats. Alright, brief rundown of Fight Club before we begin this here. It's going to be big for you. You ready for this?
This is big for me.
We tore this up so many times on Strip Cover Lit. We need to make this happen in film form.
By the way, Dalton and I are from Strip Cover Lit. If you want to head over there and hit a subscribe button as well.
Yeah, piss on these two individuals. Let's talk Fight Club. The year, 1999, October 15th, release date in the U.S. David Fincher is directing our film here, and like we said, this is based on Chuck Palahniuk's novel, Fight Club, same title. We get Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter, Meatloaf, and Jared Leto, the man nobody remembers is actually in this movie. So good for him. Let's start it out, as always, best scene, worst scene. What's the best scene of this, Adrian? This is your movie.
This is my area here, okay? But I am torn as to what the best scene is. It might be the human sacrifice.
It's a good one.
It might be the scene in the basement of Lou's Tavern where Brad Pitt is screaming, "You don't know where I've been, Lou."
That's mine.
Oh. You don't know where I've been, Lou!
Love that scene.
I am not sure which scene is the best, but both are absolutely necessary to this movie.
Okay.
I'll actually take that and go with it. I got a split down the middle here between my favorite scene. It's the end scene, the showdown between, himself, basically, where after the reveal and they have their showdown in the building and they have their, one-man fight, if you will. But I also absolutely love all the entire sequence with Helena Bonham Carter where they're having sex. And where they, after you know the, spoiler alert, they're the same person. After you know that he's just one guy, the interactions that they have are flawlessly played out and timed to where, if you know what the gist is of it all, the interactions that they have are priceless because he's such a dick to her. Yeah. And it's just perfect. There's one scene where he compares it to his father and his mother and how he's just like, the only time they weren't humping, they never spent any actual time in a room together. There's a scene where she walks out, he walks by, get rid of her, she walks in, you need to go, she's out, he's back in. It's absolutely perfect. I love that stuff.
That's the stuff of movie magic, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely wonderful.
Josh?
Rubber gloves.
Love that. That's a good part.
That is. I do go with Adrian on that. He was a little bit iffy. I got to go with the Lou scene in the basement. That is my absolute favorite scene. Just shows how insane and willing to get his point across that Tyler Durden is.
It also shows the incredible control he has over these men, right? They're coming to save him, and he just does this.
Yeah.
Holds them off. Like a Magneto scene.
All right, a wee bit.
Yeah.
Everybody's fawning over Brad Pitt. Edward fucking Norton's in this movie, and I love Edward Norton. Edward Norton beating the shit out of himself in front of his boss is a beautiful scene. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Now, Jim Carrey tried this in Liar Liar where he was kicking his own ass, and it's hilarious. When Edward Norton does it, it's terrifying.
Here's the question I have right now. Can anyone think of a scene that none of us would have agreed with?
That none of us would have agreed with?
Is there any one scene that everyone would be... That's not the right one, right? I think this movie is full of so many scenes that you could make the argument for that there's no definitive wrong answer.
I'm Googling something right now, so excuse me.
Way to run the show here, Dalton.
That's what I do. I'm going to make sure I got my facts straight before I level something on you. But no, I think every scene in here it's damn good.
Yes.
It's a good film, and I don't think it gets a lot of credit it deserves. It is an iconic film. It is a heavily quoted film. But when you look at ratings for this, they're generally not the greatest.
I think part of that is because this is a collection of scenes.
Okay.
Not necessarily a film. But we can get past that.
You think so?
Yeah. What is the next... what are you doing here?
What's our worst scene?
I can't pinpoint a worst scene, but every time I watch this movie, I feel that it is one Marla Singer scene too long.
Really?
Yes.
No.
I feel like there's one too many Marla Singers.
No.
See, I dig on Marla
think it's
Singer. I dig her
yeah.
character. I like her. I'll tell you, the worst scene in this movie is every single time it gets preachy, which is most of the fucking movie.
Okay.
I got to tell you on that, like every time it gets a little preachy, I start to go as soft as a wet noodle in a hard boiling water. I can't handle it. Because it's so, and I know that there's so many people out there that are just like, oh, this movie speaks to me, and it's all about society and how fucked up it is, and just like miss me with that. Because you know what? He makes a lot of fucking money. I would love to shop from IKEA like that and fill my apartment with all that stuff. Now, do I sound like a yuppie? Goddamn right I do. But at the same time, this movie's preachy.
You two are going to strangle each other.
Give me symbolism or give me dick. I don't want to be told what to think.
We're going to fight this. Josh, what's the worst scene?
I was actually torn. Trying to find a worse scene was really difficult for me.
No, it wasn't. There's a worse one, but please tell me you got it right.
I did not. I mean, looking through all of it, I was thinking about the scene where he's describing the house.
Okay.
And, it's kind of a little bit elongated. It has, describing all of this and that. But I can't even label that as the worst scene because it leads into, it's a mirror of how his life is, how he's trying to reach rock bottom, and all of that. It was a toss-up.
Are you telling me this movie doesn't have a bad scene in it?
Oh, but it has bad scenes, but just trying to nail it down to one... It's hard. Okay. I couldn't do it.
Well, let me do it for you, because I'll narrow it down.
Real quick, how does it feel to be the Adrian of this channel?
It's different, thank you.
You're quickly becoming.
Normally, I'm very positive, very happy, but we said this was going to be different than what people are used to. But let me tell you what the worst scene is to this movie, because Chuck Palahniuk kind of has a little bit of Eastern philosophy going with him. He always kind of preaches that. We get a lot of haikus, things like that. The cave scene where we see the animated penguin
I love that scene.
is worthless to this film. Absolutely. It is worthless to this film.
It's a setup for a later payoff.
It's a setup for a later payoff, but who gives a damn? Because if you take both of those scenes out, you don't need it.
It's true.
That's what I'm saying. This movie is a collection of scenes.
It is a collection of scenes. And here's the thing. I get the meditative state, and that's his escape point. And when he has lie on his hands, that is what he is using to escape. Do we get to penguin again? No, the fuck we don't. That penguin is worthless.
That penguin becomes Marla Singer.
That penguin is worthless.
It's a setup for a payoff.
We can fight this all day. That is the worst scene.
You're so hipster, you have no idea what investment means.
I hate you so much right now. I'm going to strangle somebody. Anyway, let's move on. Because time. Time is imperative here.
It is.
The Oscar. Who is the best performance this show, Adrian?
Edward Norton's career is not complete without this movie. Helena Bonham Carter's career has been made on the promise of once again delivering a Marla Singer, but you cannot have this movie without Brad Pitt.
Helena Bonham Carter, everybody. It's got to be Brad Pitt because the dude absolutely steals the movie, steals the whole thing. It's not the same movie without the energy and the purpose that he brings. Case in point, check out the scene where he goes to see Marla and the cops are coming to the place because they got a reported suicide, and he pulls her over to the side, and what do they do to mistake from the cops? Start dancing.
Oh, the dancing.
Anyone but Brad Pitt, you don't walk past that.
I'm going to slay you all in a minute. Josh?
I got to go Meatloaf. Weirdly enough, Meatloaf, Robert Paulson. That character, his name is Robert Paulson. The backbone of the entire movie is all of the minions, all of the people who do the dirty work. Robert Paulson is the only real character in all of that.
I applaud you for not picking Brad Pitt. If I may tell a story that I've informed a couple of people here, but no, someone has not gotten the effect of this. Do you know who the original casting of Tyler Durden was supposed to be?
I'll bet you cut off Josh to tell him.
I probably will. Do I cut off Josh a lot? This is what you get going right before I do, so enjoy it.
God damn it.
Stop talking. Do you know who the original casting of Tyler Durden is?
I genuinely have no idea.
Take a drink. You're going to need it. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe was the original Tyler Durden.
What?
Brad Pitt came off a bad series of movies, and he was like, all right, I guess I'll do this.
What, like cutting class?
California?
They wanted Edward Norton for a fresh, modern sex appeal.
Why? Because he was off Virtuosity?
That's what I'm saying. Virtuosity was a Tyler Durdenish character. The scene. Remember the scene in the elevator?
Russell Crowe.
I mean, yeah, but
that was before Russell Crowe was Russell Crowe, though.
This was before Gladiator.
Yeah.
He was intimidating. He was not Russell Crowe.
Yeah, but it's not Tyler Durden, because Tyler Durden has that snark about him. It's not,
right,
I'm just going to beat your fucking ass.
Here's the thing.
Russell Crowe changes the character.
Yeah, you look at Russell Crowe and you say, I want to know you so you can beat up my enemies. You look at Brad Pitt and say, I want to be you because I want to be you.
Yeah, exactly. Russell Crowe, the character would have become more stoic, more badass. Like, he's very good at pulling that off. I love me some Russell Crowe. Not in a role like that.
Okay.
Russell Crowe does not have the Brad Pitt laugh. The scene where Lou's beating the hell out of him.
Yeah,
that does not get accomplished by Russell Crowe.
I'm going to disagree with you there, because the Russell Crowe laugh makes that scene all the more terrifying.
No.
Because have you ever seen Russell Crowe laugh?
Yes. It's not that.
No, it's different because it's more haunting. Because, like, Brad Pitt, it almost sounds like he's crying.
Yeah.
The way he's laughing.
Yes.
Like, Russell Crowe, like, the way he laughs, you're like, oh, God, what's this guy about to do? Which you could kind of get that from Brad Pitt, but not really, because it kind of sounds like he's weeping.
Have you ever seen the assassination of Jesse James by that coward
Robert Ford? Yeah, I love that movie.
The scene where what's his name's family's telling Jesse James the story, and then there's the awkward silence, and then there's the Brad Pitt laugh.
Yeah,
makes the fucking scene, right?
Yeah,
Brad Pitt has that type of haunting laugh.
All right. Now the Oscar.
Yes.
Since I figured everybody's going to go Brad Pitt, both of you.
Oh, I forgot. You haven't done this yet.
Exactly. Give me a second. Stop cutting me off. Helena Bonham Carter.
See, that's fair. I
mean,
see,
Because if you look at...
I can see it.
If you look at Palahniuk's novel, you do not get a better Marla singer. Period.
You absolutely don't.
Period.
Speaking of someone who hasn't read the book, I'll just
hate
take your
you
word
as a
for
person
it.
now.
One love.
I hate
baby.
you as a person.
One love.
Here's the thing. You do not replace Helena Bonham Carter. And am I saying that wrong or something?
Helena Bonham Carter.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Helena Bonham Carter?
Helena
That
Carter.
sounds like
You
an
don't-
awful political candidate that I can't wait to vote out of office.
You don't replace Helena and get a better Marla singer. You don't replace Brad Pitt and have a movie.
Do you know who the original casting of Helena Bonham Carter's Marla singer was?
Julianne Moore.
Russell Crowe. Okay. What?
You look sort of like the hipster Russell Crowe with that haircut and the beard.
Thank you.
Little bit.
I'm
Sort of like a-
planning to defend Rome soon.
I ain't gonna lie, that's the type of compliment that I
I'll
would
take that compliment, because if I looked half as good as Russell Crowe, I wouldn't be doing this.
All right. Now let's talk. There are certain corners of the internet where I'm sure you have more appeal than Russell Crowe.
This is true. We found Tumblr
Josh
once.
has been there.
Anyway,
Once or twice.
maybe we're going to argue this. You haven't read the book, but this is a different ending than the book. Now, we've argued this a lot on Strip Cover Lit, and I think we need to argue it on the Aristocrats as well. And we can talk about how the ending affects the film. So, book ending.
The book ending is sort of vague. You don't know if he's in heaven or if he's in the hospital, right? Like, it's sort of some blending of the two. And what happens is Marla and a group of people from the former support groups show up to the top of said building where Tyler and narrator have been and semi-rescue him, right? Now, in the movie, he convinces himself he's committing suicide, blows out his cheek, and he is left, but Tyler Durden is gone.
Yes. And you get that beautiful image at the end of Edward Norton holding Helena Bonham Carter's hand and watching the buildings collapse.
And you also get the beautiful death of Brad Pitt where he just blows out smoke.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
I mean, that is a beautiful
Smoke
death.
ring.
That's a good
and
one.
then
Yeah, I like
Yes.
that.
Yes. It's a different ending. It really is. And we've argued many times that Hollywood did it better.
Yes.
I think so. I really do. Now, Palahniuk, I could say this made Palahniuk as an author.
Yes. Chuck Palahniuk's career is a lot like J.K. Rowling's. Rowling? How are you supposed to say it? I don't even
That's the
remember.
woman who wrote Harry Potter.
I am aware of this.
Well,
I know who J.K.
God damn
Rowling
it! How do
is.
you say her name?
I say Rowling.
It's
I say
rolling.
rolling.
It's rolling. Trust me, the internet has chastised
No, that's
me.
what I said. I said
Rowling.
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling is nowhere without the movies.
Very true. But here's the
it's
thing.
undoubtedly.
Palahniuk may have been nowhere without the movies. But this movie is almost spot on to the book up until the ending. Very similar.
The movie does... Here, it's such a hard argument to make. I don't know how to put it into words. Matt, maybe you can help me here.
I'll try.
The book does bookish things very well.
Okay.
The movie does movie things very well.
It does.
The scenes that are in the movie are accentuated visually on things that will give us clues.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The book does things psychologically to you because it's first person.
Yeah.
So it takes you there better than the movie does. Still, the movie...
Because you're literally inside the head
Yes.
of the narrator.
But the
person talking to
movie
you.
borrows that by having a voiceover, right? Yeah. So the movie is the best adaptation that I believe you can get for a book version of the same thing. Much in the way that American Psycho, the movie and the film do different things, but they are the best possible versions of themselves on their respective media.
Well, case in point, like you got at the very beginning of Fight Club, where you have, not only is he narrating to you and telling you everything that he's thinking and everything that's going on in his life, but they also incorporate the little flashes of Tyler Durden in there, where they're just kind of just leaving you a little trail of breadcrumbs along the way. Like there's the 3 flashes, and then there's him passing him on the little like escalator thing,
and then he's in the video at the hotel.
Yes, exactly. Yes. He's in there as well. Yeah, they're just leaving you a little trail right here. Like, you know, his life is like this, and he is formulating this split personality right here all along the way. It's very well done.
Josh, as a former projectionist, have you ever spliced porn into a children's film?
While I have, ironically, had the opportunity to do so, I have not actually done so, to my eternal dismay. But, by God, that would have been a hell of a story.
Now, what I want to ask you is this? Do you feel this experience of the movie is different for you from having had one of these jobs that is a niche job? This isn't like working retail, right? Very few people can ever say they've been projectionists.
It's true. It's right. It's a very literally behind the scenes job, and yeah, absolutely, it does really kind of give that extra nod to it.
I mean, it's also virtually extinct.
Well, no doubt.
You just hate everything about
I do not hate everything. I'm just saying that job is extinct. Everything's digital now. They're killing skilled jobs. Yes. I feel like I'm preaching. Which is what I thought.
Really? Oh! Well, I'll be goddamned. Anything else anybody wants to say? I tell him earlier, just make sure you don't go off frame, Matt, and where he's crawling on the floor right now, completely off frame.
He's got to leave after proving himself an asshole. That's the only thing there is to it. Now, here's the thing. I want to ask you guys. You've all seen your fair share of movies, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How many movies have you ever watched that have made you feel more like men, right? That have given you more of a masculine feeling.
I mean, not with Russell Crowe.
Right, exactly. Really, the first one that comes to mind is Gladiator.
No, first one that comes to mind is 300. Here's the thing. You kidding me? Me and a car full of my friends after seeing that movie literally drove around town with hanging tridents and pitchforks out the window going like, yeah! We wanted to fight.
Right. Is this a similar experience?
Anytime Julie and Julie is on, I sit down and I have myself a nice glass of wine. And I'm done. I'm done. I'm
Julia Child.
Bon appetit. I think you're right here. And we always talk about the Adrian Fort theory of masculinity. What makes a man?
The man does what the man has to do. The man does what he must do to create the world that he wants to live in. Is that not what Tyler Durden does throughout this movie?
Well, yes.
Creates the world that he wants to live in.
Well, of course.
And at the end of the day, we all become what Tyler Durden wants us to be. Right?
Well, I mean, I think of the scene with the... actually, I should have picked that scene. The scene where he holds a gun to the guy's head and says,
the human sacrifice.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
But, is that what you want to call that scene?
That's a gorgeous scene.
The IDs are literally hung up later on his door with the title Human Sacrifices.
Yeah. Hey, he shuts the door.
It's a nice little go-to.
You've got 40 licenses right there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
That is fun.
Yes.
But, movie was too preachy. It checked out.
I hate you so much.
Okay, so tell me the most preachy scene.
Well, let's go with the chemical burn scene. That one. I get nauseated every single time. Where he's just like, it's funny where he's just like, and this is a chemical burn. But then the way everything he says while he's holding his arm, I just get nauseated by. I feel like they're just me. Okay.
I think you're done with this. I mean, we can do this with 3 people.
No. No! So tell me, what's preachy there? Is it not spirituality?
Spirituality?
Is it not spirituality in the absence of religion?
I'm sorry.
At what point does God mention?
Somebody else is officially the Dalton, and I'm just basking in this. Welcome to my personal hell.
This is how the BookTube channel goes. But is it not spirituality in the absence of religion? So what part is preachy? You bring up preachy. Preachy makes you think of a preacher.
I'm all about... I don't like being straight up told, how I'm supposed to think, feel, act, whatever. And that's pretty much what he's doing in the entire scene. right there. And there are just pockets all throughout the entire movie where they just break down and just give you this, beat you over the head with all of this.
But here's what ends up happening in this film. You are given a scene where something is preached to you, such as that, which is very heavy-handed. But then you go back on that second view and you see earlier in the movie when there are elements of that speech in the movie.
I mean, this kind of all flows into one thing where I will not deny this is a very well-made movie. That goes into the fact that David Fincher, I think, is the absolute man. I will watch any movie that he comes out with. Love David Fincher to death. Appointment viewing for all of his. However, just Fight Club to me just doesn't click.
Okay. Now, we will argue that out very soon. Right after this short break, we will be right back with recommendations for other films and a full rating of this movie, this great, fine movie that someone here doesn't like. So make sure you stick around for after this quick break, and we will hit that. Let's wrap things up here. If you like Fight Club, Adrian, what should I watch next?
I think you would enjoy American Psycho, especially if you are part of the literati. You may have read the book American Psycho, and you will be able to take in a double feature of book-to-movie adaptations, both of which do expressly right what their mediums are best known for and operate best under.
Okay.
I give you basically, there's a couple of ways you can take this. Yes, American Psycho, or if you really like this movie, odds are you're going to like David Fincher. So I suggest you check out every other movie that he's done, because trust me, it gets better. On top of that, there's another movie that you can check out called The Rules of Attraction. It's a James Van Der Beek, like late 90s, 99, I believe, type of vehicle. That's actually, fun fact, his character in it is the younger brother of Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Really?
Yes. His name's Sean Bateman. How about that?
I'd like to interject here that he is the Dalton of this channel. If you like Chuck Palahniuk, read Chuck Palahniuk. Josh?
For me, whenever I rewatched this, I thought not really of the actual message that it was trying to get through, but the style of it. So, thought back to a movie, Rock and Rolla.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Love that movie. It's in the vein of Revolver, all that. Ironically enough, has Gerard Butler from 300.
Yeah,
masculine, real man movie.
Should have been Russell Crowe.
Discount Russell Crowe.
Discount
Russell Crowe. Absolutely adore that film. I think that's a good alternative to it. Well, a good addition.
Okay.
So in the same palette.
In the same sort of feel.
Okay. I'm going to have to get with you on this one. If you like this movie by David Fincher, you need to watch Seven, directed by David Fincher with Brad Pitt.
Definitely.
You are going to get a very similar feel from Fight Club.
Far superior.
How dare you talk over me, Josh? You're
God
silent.
damn it, I was agreeing with you. That was that moment.
But you get Brad Pitt, you get the Fincher feel, you get that good reveal at the end. Very Fight Club-esque. Anyway, the big finale. Let's rate this film, because I think we're going to be all over the spectrum here.
I'm going to go with, my main factor here is rewatchability and profitability. Every time you watch this, you're a different person, so it's going to be a different experience because of the preachability, right? Every time you watch this, you have different life experiences that lead to different profitabilities from the speeches and the tangents that Tyler Durden goes upon. I would give this 98 out of 100.
You gonna give this
98 burn marks out of 100.
That is high.
That is
very high.
Okay, let me qualify. This is probably an adaptation of my favorite book. This might be my favorite movie.
Okay.
So
Okay.
That's fair. All right.
Break us down a little bit. Take us down a
Break it
notch.
down just a little bit. This movie gets a 60 from me.
Ooh.
And when a 60 in my term equals, I think that, let's break it down in terms of, let's say, 100,000 people watch this movie. Well, I think, a decent number of them are probably going to like it. Maybe 60% of them are going to like it. But I also think that if you're going to watch a movie to understand movies, to get it, it's a very well done movie, very well crafted. The performances are great. But I just can't get past the preachability of the whole thing. It kills me. And so that's why it gets a 60, which in my book is give it about see, I went to Catholic school, so they grade it harsh. So a 60 will kill you.
A 60 is a low D.
Low D, that's a high F.
in Catholic school.
Very high F.
Here's what I gotta say, Matt. Are you telling me you're giving this a lower score than Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I am indeed.
Okay, we'll move on.
Very bold. Josh?
I was more akin to Adrian on this one. I gave it a 91. Absolutely love this film. It does have the rewatchability. I mean, at one point I sat here and I actually watched this movie like 5 times in 1 week.
You could.
Mainly because it was still in the DVD player. But but absolutely adore it. Amazing story. It's got great filmmaking. It's got all those little hints. The spliced in dick, which is just hilarious to me, especially having worked as a projectionist. Yeah, I stand by that. It's a low 90s.
So tell me, that week that you watched it about 5 times, did you or did you not find yourself noticing something different every time you watched it?
Oh, absolutely. That was one of my main things, especially after you brought up all of the licenses they found. Because that was one of those things that I had never noticed until just recently. Look back on it. You always find something subtle but new with that movie.
Blow your mind with this, gentlemen, because I am the Adrian Fort of the Aristocrats, and I did the research. We are on both ends of the spectrum about evenly of what this movie is usually rated on average. On average, here's what I'm here for. On average, this movie gets about a 75 out of 100 through most film critics. I am also a big fan of Palahniuk. I'm a big fan of the writing. I'm a big fan of the film. I gave it a 92. Lacking on presentation, but high on performance and entertainment, but no gold. Nothing had a perfect category here. But if you look at that 90, if you look at that 60, that's roughly in between 75. Whichever way you want to take it. So there you go. You lone man on the totem pole.
Matt, you take your copious amounts of arm hair and you stay over on that side.
Yeah, baby. You've got Robin Williams knuckles. It's uncomfortable.
It is.
So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a like as well. We always appreciate a like. And if you would, Adrian, do you have an end card for us?
We are on Twitter at Aristocrat Show. Dalton and I are also on Twitter at Stripped Cover. And on Facebook at Strip Cover Lit.
And if you want to talk to us a little bit individual about our opinions on this film, you can find me on Twitter at The Dalton.
I am at Adrian Anyway.
I am at Matt right now.
And I am Josh the Meat.